like to introduce to us the next candidate, Dr. Akullu Ezati. Dr. Ezati is the next candidate who is going to present to us about how and why she thinks she will manage the office of the DVC Academic Affairs. Dr. Ezati is an associate professor of education. She holds a PhD in education, where she interrogated gender issues in higher education. She has undertaken several short courses, including on gender teaching and learning in higher education, management, research management. She's the current dean of the School of Education. She has taught and mentored undergraduate and graduate students for 26 years. And through her mentorship, 9 PhD students and 28 master's students have graduated. She's well-grounded in pedagogy and andragogy of higher education and curriculum development. She is periodically called upon for expert advice to both Uganda National Council for Higher Education and the Inter-University Council of East Africa during accreditation. She's actively engaged in research and has published widely with 25 publications in books and referred journals and over 20 paper presentations in conferences. She has provided consultations to several organizations including UNICEF, UNESCO, CARE International, and Tallow Oil, etc. She has successfully initiated networks and partnerships with a number of universities, for example, Queen's University, Belfast, University of Madison, and Florida in the US, Winnipeg in Canada, Malmö in Sweden, Katholic and Lithuania universities in Germany, and has won research grants. She has served in several university and non-university committees. Ladies and gentlemen,
Professor Ezati's citation has already been read to us, and right now, without any further ado, allow me to welcome Associate Professor Betty Ezati to address us for the next 30 minutes. Thank you.
Chair, Council and members of Council who are present, VC and management of Makerere University, members of the Search Committee, the principals present, deans, heads of departments, colleagues, and all the staff of Makerere University, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to present to you my plan for the office of the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs. That is the outline of my presentation. I'll give you a brief about my record of service and achievements. Then I'll talk about my motivation for the job of Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs. I will then highlight some of the achievements of Makerere University in the last 5 years. Then I'll talk about the challenges in relation to academics, quality assurance, research, as well as opportunity to become a research-led university, and propose some strategies, and then other relevant issues for the position, and then I'll conclude my presentation. A brief about me is that I've served in this university for the last 26 years, supervised quite a number of students, PhD level and master's level. I am the current dean of the School of Education, and I have a number of publications that include about 25 in journals and in books, and I've presented over 20 papers in conferences. I have 3 ongoing research right now, and I have undertaken several consultancies for UNICEF, for UNESCO, and for Ministry of Education. I've also served in several committees, which I will highlight later on. And related to my academic leadership, I've improved collaboration and partnerships at the School of Education by linking up with quite a number of universities, which are highlighted there, and I will not read them. We've managed to host visiting scholars from universities in the United States, in Europe, and in Africa here, specifically we've hosted from Dar es Salaam and Rwanda. And I've also provided guidance to national and regional education efforts on accreditation, and this is called upon time and again by Uganda National Council of Higher Education and also by Inter-University Council of East Africa. I've also participated and mobilized finances to improve academics in the School of Education. Amongst them is the Linus Panma, which is running right now, brought in that amount of money, DAD, and also DFID in 2008. These are some of the assignments I've undertaken for Makerere University. I do chair pre-entry and mature age committee. I'm a member of the contracts committee. I also participated in the review of the anti-sexual harassment policy. I chaired the visitation committee to Katungu in Bushenyi, and I also participated in the visitation committee to Bukala as a member. I was in the search committee for VC. I am in the honorary award committee. I'm in the board of research and graduate training. And of course, as dean, I'm in Senate. And I'm also a member of the anti-sexual harassment committee. And I did participate some years back in the technical committee that mainstreamed gender into Makerere University curriculum. Outside Makerere University, I do chair the Council of National Curriculum Development Center. I am a member of the Uganda Petroleum Institute, member of Governing Council in Kigomba. I'm a member of the National Task Force on Lower Secondary School Curriculum Reform, and I chair the Board of Governors, Makerere College School. I am a member of the Advisory Committee of Star Education. I do external examining in several universities and also undertake consultancies. I've learned a lot by participating in these committees, and some of the things that I've learned as I participated in it is that Makerere brand remains strong, and we need to retain that. We also need to reposition the university to play its role in a modern society as a learner-centered institution, as a research-led institution, and that will require a new structural framework and policy environment. We need to repackage our programs and services for a new era in education awareness and improve on inter-college and school collaboration. We also need to become more efficient and effective in delivering services to our clients. So we need to improve on our customer care. We need to improve on our protection and respect for our students and for each other. There are issues of sexual harassment, and I've learned that there's low level of awareness. At the same time, there are gaps, but I want to give thanks to the Directorate of Gender Mainstreaming that is now moving on to review this policy. We also need to invest more on ICT facilities and funds for examinations and supervision. These are some of the things that are letting us down in our quest to provide efficient service. So what is my motivation? The role of the DVC Academic Affairs is well articulated in the Act, And it says, assist the VC in the performance of his or her functions, and in that regard be responsible for the academic affairs of the university. Secondly, in the absence of the VC, perform functions of the VC. And thirdly, perform any other functions that may be delegated to him or her by the VC or assigned by the University Council. In addition to that, I know that this office should actually coordinate curriculum review and development and oversee academic programs. It should ensure quality of academic programs, should oversee proper planning and coordination of both undergraduate and graduate programs. It should monitor colleges, institutes, QA unit, Directorate of Research, Gender Mainstreaming, Library, and Academic Registrars unit. Should advocate for and develop policies that promote academic excellence and ensure optimum utilization of facilities. Now, my motivation. I have taught in this university for a long time. I've supervised many students. I've participated in development of courses. I've been a lead facilitator in the pedagogy program for a long time. And of recent, the training is organized in such a way that we meet only assistant lecturers. And I've been able to interact with many assistant lecturers from SEDAT, from CONAS, from College of Health Sciences, from COVAB. And this has improved my understanding of the issues that affect assistant lecturers. I've also served in several committees, and I think this has broadened my understanding of higher education issues. I think I appreciate the challenges that we have and the peculiarities of managing higher education. I've held positions of leadership, including that of deanship, and have used it to mentor staff at the School of Education. I've also mobilized resources, and so I believe that I'll be able to contribute to the development of Makerere through promoting mentorship, encouraging capacity building of all cadres of staff, improving student support, promoting internationalization, and ensuring quality in the areas of teaching, research, and outreach services. Some of the achievements that we've had at Makerere University include the fact that Makerere has been able to maintain its ranking over the years. Makerere has diversified sources of its income. So we have mark holding, we have grant offices, which can actually be replicated in other colleges, particularly after knowing how the colleges that have it are implementing it. We've improved our research output and networks through Referendum, Caprice, Resilient African, etc. We've also won the trust of a number of funding agencies, including CIDA, Carnegie, PMGF, DAD, and the rest. We've built a formidable number of partnerships and increased our infrastructure. We've made deliberate internal restructuring. So we have seen the college system coming in place. We've just passed the new policies on IODL. We've introduced many other new policies. And we've also improved on the quantity and the quality of staffing. The numbers of PhDs have increased. I think Makerere could be having one of the highest PhD holders in Africa, and also the numbers of professors beginning to go up. Although that number is still low, because the strategic plan says we need to move to 30%, but there is some increment in the numbers of graduate students, and also some increment in the numbers of international students, but we need to do a little bit more on that. Some of the challenges that I see include the dominance of teacher-centered approaches, low use of ICT, inadequate infrastructure for e-learning. But we have opportunities that can actually help us improve on this, including the new strategic plan, which is talking about innovative teaching and learning. and services responsive to dynamic society. Nationally in Uganda, the focus is now on competence-based education. And we are also focusing on learner-centered education. So there's a policy shift around moving to online learning. We have emphasis of SDG, which is about inclusive quality education. Vision 2040 talks about a skilled labor, and Makerere can contribute a lot to that skilled labor. Even Agenda 2063 talks about it, African Union Agenda. So we also have challenges around inclusivity of our environment. So even when the nation is talking about equitable provision, we are still not there as a university. The challenges continue. We have slow pace of processing transcripts and certificates. This has been a big challenge. We have low completion rates for graduate students. The staff morale are low. And we have a human resource gap. I learned this from the assistant lecturers. You know, they are recruited, and before they even settle down to fill the gap for which they've been recruited to fill, they must take up a PhD position. And sometimes this PhD position requires them to move out of Uganda. And so, by moving out of Uganda, you create another gap that you have to fill again. So it means we have to continuously then have recruitment for assistant lecturers. Opportunities available is that we have some in-country scholarships which can actually be awarded to the assistant lecturers, and then units should ensure that they reduce on the load, teaching load, so that they can concentrate on their studies as well. Funds have been decentralized to colleges. It's my hope that colleges will budget accordingly and also make use of this money for staff. And we have an existing forum where we can continue to dialogue about issues of staff welfare. Quality assurance. Issues around quality assurance include reduced quality of training, the course content, delivery mode. It includes issues around the numbers of staff and infrastructure. Weak tracking system is another issue, and unresponsiveness of our training and research to the labor market. The opportunities available include existing and functional QA units, so we can start from there. Increased demand for quality. This is a national thing, it's a regional thing, it's a global thing. There's renewed interest by government and development partners on higher education. So these are opportunities that we can take up. Research and innovations. There's low research outputs from humanities, weak linkages between academic and research units, low level of graduate training, and lack of sustainable funding for research. Opportunities is that there's now efforts to emphasize interdisciplinary research. We can harness that. And in terms of weak linkages, the beauty is that the staff of both research units and academic units belong to Makerere University, and we can actually dialogue around this. We have increasing numbers of supervisors, and currently training and supervision is going on, but this needs to be institutionalized. And government of Uganda has increased focus on research, and we can also utilize existing research fee to cater for research funding. Inadequate information about research conducted at Makerere University. We have available journals, and I'm happy that Makerere University has revamped Makerere University Printing Press, and there is now a budget line in the next financial year, so we can actually make use of the press to disseminate our ideas. Proposed strategies. I will, together of course with the officers that are running it, promote the current pedagogy and curriculum workshop. I'll try to leverage on IODL and seize expertise in technology. And I'm hoping that by doing that, we're going to improve innovations in teaching, and good innovations can be presented in conferences. And I also think that good innovations should be presented to the Committee on Recognition of Excellency. So far, we've not been recognizing. So if we can have that go to Committee of Recognition of Excellence, then people will begin to appreciate that teaching is as important as research. Initiate annual conferences on teaching and learning so that we can share our innovations. And I would advocate that at least one publication for all of us, irrespective of college, should be on teaching, curriculum development, and assessment. We are all teaching people. So if we start writing about how our teaching is, we will be sending information. Take, for example, the College of Health Sciences. If they had shared PBL in a conference, then all of us would have learned about PBL and maybe would appreciate it and introduce it in our units. Initiate interdisciplinary journal of teaching and learning. Institute libraries for each college. I know now we have book banks, but we can actually have fully fledged libraries in all colleges, and then have a forum where the principals and the DVC academic affairs can sit and talk about academic issues only, because this will provide information to the DVC about what is happening in the units. Quality assurance, enhance their capacity, but I'm also proposing that we can buy time of staff in different colleges so that staff who don't have the workload that is required can give 2 hours of their time to quality assurance and support the work of quality assurance. I also hope to have a forum where we can sit together with AR's unit, DRIGT, gender mainstreaming, and the rest, and again talk about what is happening in the unit and provide feedback. I believe that this will help the DVC academic affairs to actually inform Senate about what is happening in the different units. Training in proposal writing is my plan for research-led university, and including young staff in all projects, and that will provide mentorship. I'll promote consultancies and also promote journals. And in line with the strategic plan, I will urge units to liaise with line ministries so that they know the research agenda in those units and make it part of their research agenda and encourage patenting. I will propose increase in enrollment specifically through blended mode, and my hope is that each college will at least try to have 2 of its programs offered as blended mode every year. And that means in the next 3 to 5 years we'll have the remaining courses online. I'll advocate for separation of funds and also register, clearly mark register for graduate and undergraduate students, and hopefully if the funds are demarcated and ring-fenced for that matter, it will enable us to timely pay for graduate supervision, examinations of theses and proposals. Makerere has built a reputation on the quality of our research, but this has been dependent on donor funds. We need to dialogue with the government of Uganda. A lot of money is already coming from there, and I know government is willing. Private sector, we need to get there. And we also need to use internally generated funds, especially from patents and other services. And to fund and look at research as teaching and teaching as combined, not separate units or entities. Other issues is around the image of the university. The image of the university is not so good out there, and this is mainly because we don't take good care of our clients, the students. And I'm proposing that we need training for frontline officers. We have people who meet the students when they come, and sometimes that we will meet them as they're getting out. Once these can handle our students well, then their experience at Makerere University will be much experience that they can talk about when they go out. Internationalization. Advocate for strengthening this office. Right now the staff are very few. And also the current PRR offices can actually be a one-stop point where students can get information instead of students being tossed around different offices. So in conclusion, Office of the DVC requires a person with in-depth knowledge of the university, wide experience on academic issues and research. It requires a team player as well, and somebody will work with colleagues in a collegial manner. I think I have these attributes and abilities expected of this office. I have in-depth understanding of the academic issues at Makerere University. I've been involved in many issues of higher education in Uganda and outside, and I appreciate these issues. I have wide international networks, have demonstrated ability and interest in attracting financial resources, and I have a track record of effectiveness in the things that I do. And I know when I get a chance, I'll be able to support academic and intellectual activities of this university. So my candidature has highlighted and consistent with the current and successor strategic plan of the university. Specifically, together with others, will transform teaching and learning, both undergraduate and graduate, strengthen QA and competence-based curriculum, improve student support, mentor young staff, build the capacity of the different cadres of staff. And it is with this that I present myself for this position as we build for the future. I thank you.
The public is now going to engage you, and we are going to take 3 questions at any given time. And like I told you in the morning, if you have appreciated what you have said, please keep that to yourself. What we are interested in and now the questions. Don't explain the questions, simply ask a question, and 1 question by individual. Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Akullu Ezati. Like I asked before, the question is, you talked about a principals forum to gather views from the people. I want to hear from you about the deans. You are assuming or you are aspiring to become a DVC-AA in a context where there are suggestions to remove schools and academic deans. How are you going to deliver on your mandate should those suggestions come through? Thank you very much.
That if you become the DVC-AA, you are going to be my immediate supervisor. I heard you talking about book bans. With the onset of colleges, the book bans were merged into college libraries, but you don't have functional college libraries. In terms of space, they are lacking. So what is your strategy to make sure that we have real college libraries with sufficient space? Thank you.
In our society in Uganda today, there is widespread corruption and mismanagement. It's my belief and suggestion that every course that is taught here should have a component of ethics and moral integrity and a management component. What is your take on this?
Thank you, Associate Professor Sarah Salim, for that question. Yes, I talked about the forum of principals, but that does not mean that it ignores the school. My understanding is that issues of these universities start from departments. And departments, when they articulate their issues, it should then move to the school level, where the dean then puts together the issues of the department. And then from the school level, it can then go to the principal. The principal will then share this with the DVC-AA. That does not take away the fact that the DVC should go to the units and understand the units periodically. And so I believe a school is still important because it is that which houses an academic program. so if you want to develop that program, then you're better off talking about a department and a school, so that the scholarship of that unit develops. So I do recognize all the levels. No functional libraries, yes. And that is why in my suggestion I'm saying each college should have a library. Right now I know there are few that have, but in terms of functionality, like you said, it is a challenge. So this is an area that we'll need to jointly sit and actually discuss on how to handle this, including mobilizing resources to enable us to improve the libraries. A lot of research grants that come to a university is one source that we can use. If all of us in the different units actually put a small percentage of the research money to the library and we make use of that money to improve the library, I think it is a beginning. Corruption and mismanagement, I totally agree with you. Now, in terms of having university-wide course, yes, but this, again, we need to think critically about it. How many teachers are we going to have to be able to teach this? Which unit is going to house this? Already I think we have in choose an area in this. We have in education as well. We have in College of Health Sciences issues of ethics as well. So some colleges already have this. But if we're going to make it uni-wide, then it calls for further dialogue on how this will be effectively given. Thank you.
Student choose. One of the issues that you mentioned is about student support, which I think is very important. There is also the question of accountability on the part of lecturers. We've been told we have a lot of power as lecturers. We hold people's future in our hands as individuals. We cut lectures, we give marks without marking, we trade sex for marks. What is your strategy in terms of lecturer accountability?
Joyce Mukiwa, courses. Thank you, Professor Ezati. My question is about teaching evening versus normal load. As staff complain that why do you put my normal load in the evening, which is not within the stipulated working hours? How do you intend to handle that situation? Thank you.
Sarah Chibuli, my name. You've talked about transforming education at Makerere, and this is what we need. You've talked about competence-based education, learner-centered learning, and you talked about how the College of Health Sciences has been trying to achieve this with little or a lot of success. So beyond the workshops, what strategies do you have to ensure that there's transformation beyond using online courses? Because if we talk about competencies, some competencies will not be acquired online. So what strategies do you want to put in place? What have we learned from efforts from the College of Health Sciences or even other colleges that have tried to implement competence-based education, learner-centered learning, that you want us to do? Where to transform what we are doing?
Accountability of lecturers. I did mention in my presentation that the policy that we had gaps. And I also mentioned that the Directorate of Gender Mainstreaming is now looking at that. One of the gaps had to do with how to handle the issues of sexual harassment. And as a result, we've had cases go and you're not able to actually handle it. So I believe that if this policy is reviewed and guidelines given to everyone, then hopefully we will be able to hold people accountable. Right now it's a bit tricky, but this is an ongoing thing already. Teaching in the evening versus normal load, this one I'll have to understand it more. I don't know why the load is only in the evening, or this person teaches both morning and evening. It's something that I'll need to get to understand in order to really suggest any strategy. Competence-based education, what have we learned? I mentioned in my presentation that I wish we had a forum where we would share the innovations that we are using and learn from each other. And so far we don't have that forum, and so I cannot even speak of the successes and the failures of PBL at the College of Health Sciences. And yet if we had it, we would draw on the good things and replicate it in other areas. So for now, the workshops are going on, but workshop is one thing. Implementing the things that you get from the workshop is another. So it's my hope that closer follow-up of what is happening in the units after workshops would be important in enabling us to actually try to implement the issues. To implement the issues of competence-based education.
We have been debating the issue of external examiners and their continued work at Makerere. And some units we've gone without external examiners for some time, and the reason has mainly been lack of finances. I really want to hear your take on this, as a person who has been in this work for a long time and have felt the pain of the lack of moderation of our work, keeping Makerere as a small academic island. I want to hear your honest view, support the view that external examiners should be abolished or strengthened.
Instrument stay from courses. Professor, how do you plan to safeguard the integrity of Makerere academic results in an environment where much of these results are handled by a group of staff who are employed on frustrating contract terms? Thank you.
Chancellor from the Department of Library and an away representative Senate. Thank you, Professor Ezati, for your well-elaborated and presented presentation. But my question goes directly to the area where I come from, as my library. We know library as academic library, academic institutions or department, where a library works beyond other departments, that the staff work up to 11 p.m. And we all understand that the university charges library fee at the correction of the university. You as DVC-AA, and where the library works beyond the hours, you always almost strike for the remuneration of the payment of the extended of the hours, and you are suggesting each college to have a library where the president are understaffed. How are you going to go about it? Thank you very much.
First question is on external examination. Should it be abolished? This is something that we are all discussing, and I would want to rely on the outcome of that discussion. But external examination serves an important purpose. It checks whether our products are of quality, and it gives credibility to the products that are coming out of our institution. But whether it should be abolished or not, I think we will jointly make that decision. Integrity of results vis-a-vis part-time. I think the university is trying to actually get people on full-time. I know that there was a call to try to recruit people who are on contract to get on permanent terms. So if this is already in the process, it's something that I will definitely advocate for and promote. Library, yes, it's important for each unit to have a library. When you talk about the college system, it's supposed to be self-containing. We don't want somebody from this college to come to the main administration, main university to get information. So it's still important to have this. What we can only do is to try to increase the numbers of staff in the library, and this has to be planned well and done systematically over a period of time. I thank you.
I get to ask the last question. Looking at the literature, the literature that we have about Makerere, the founders of this university were very concerned about the fact that Makerere should always build for the future. And the master plan of this Makerere University was drawn in 1925. And when they do this master plan, for example, the place where the swimming pool is found was planned for in 1925. The swimming pool was built in 1961, meaning that these people had foresight. Given what you have told us, and these have been magnificent plans, can you just throw some light in terms of building for the future? What kind of impact the suggestions you are going to have will have, say, 50 years from now?
Thank you, moderator. I didn't know that you were also going to ask me a question. But building for the future. You know, when you look at academics and building for the future, you're looking at what kind of graduates do this. What kind of graduates does Uganda need? What kind of graduates do we need in the region? And what kind of graduates do we need globally? So it requires us to project on the kind of person we want to produce 20 years from now and look backward. If I want these graduates to do this 20 years from now, what kind of training do I need to provide so that we continuously build for the future? So that requires us to continuously review our programs. You know, the lifespan of a program is 3 to 5 years. We need to have budget line to enable us review our programs as required. And I think in that way, we will be passing out products that meet the needs of the market in terms of the future. Thank you.